I did a video on why I returned my Rode Wireless Go-To wireless microphones because of terrible static and interference. This was so terrible that it took me a lot of time in post-production to clean up. The fact that I'm not a professional audio engineer, this was so frustrating, so I decided to get the DJI wireless mic and most of my problems went away, but not all. Hollyland reached out to me to try their Lark Max. A bit of non-disclosure, even though Hollyland sent this to me, they don't get any input on what I get to say, so everything is my own opinion. The Lark Max is the latest portable 2-in-1 wireless mic from Hollyland. This means you can record not just one but two subjects at the same time. If you are recording just one subject, you're able to use a second transmitter or mic as a backup or swap out the first one if the battery dies. The Lark Max package includes a charging case which houses the two transmitters and the receiver, a TRS cable, two cute looking wind covers, USB-C to USB-C cable, USB-A to USB-C cable, USB-C to lightning cable for your iPhones, and a nice looking well-made case that houses everything. For sure, this is better to have than what DJI offers, as DJI only supplies a separate carrying pouch for the added accessories, so this is a win for Hollyland. In terms of build quality, they both look and feel well made. Both the transmitters and receivers have a clip so you can clip devices on your clothes or fit nicely on the hot shoe of your camera. These clips are also metallic and come with some rounded magnets so you can have them right on your shirt. My only worry is on the DJI receiver, which uses these adapters in case you were to use your iPhone or Android device. Although an innovative idea, it does not feel too solid. I'm always afraid that I might break something, and I'm not sure the replacement parts if something were to break. So once again, a solid win for Hollyland for keeping things simple here. The transmitters and receiver of the Lark Max are bigger in size when compared to DJI versions, and I'm sure this is to incorporate a larger battery and advanced functions. They both have OLED touch screens on their receivers, with Hollyland being slightly bigger, which you can use to navigate the menu system and control their transmitters. The Hollyland version also has this rotating knob that can be used to navigate easier. This dial also doubles as a button as well as a touchscreen so they can see all the different vital information. You can change your settings on both the transmitters and the receiver. And on the side of the receiver, the power button also doubles as a lock screen button so you can lock it so you don't accidentally hit something that you didn't mean to. And one of the nice settings that you can have within the receiver are the EQ controls. There are 3 different EQ settings that you can choose from. There's Hi-Fi, Low Cut, and Vocal Boost. Hi-Fi is meant to give you clarity throughout the entire frequency range, so this is good for just general purpose recording. Low Cut is going to get rid of the low frequencies, which is good for getting rid of things like air conditioning unit humming in the background, traffic, or even sometimes wind. Vocal Boost, as the name implies, is going to give you a little boost to the frequencies that are predominantly found in a human voice, so you can isolate that a little bit better from a noisy environment. This is definitely a win for Hollyland. For those of us who are not great with tweaking audio in post, it will save you a lot of time. Another win for Hollyland. In terms of battery life, the Lark Max promises about 7.5 hours in the transmitter, and you can reach up to 22 hours with a fully charged charging case. This means you can charge everything fully up to 2 times, compared to about 5.5 hours for the DJI. The receiver can run up to 9 hours and it can be charged and used at the same time, while the DJI only does 5 hours and 14 hours with the charging case. Here is a win for the Hollyland again. I recently used the Lark Max on a shoot where I just had it left on the subject without bothering about battery life, and it was less stressful than I did not have to bother about it dying on me. All I did was start and stop the recording of the receiver without bothering my subject. The transmitters have on them a button to power on and off the device, which you would have to hold for a few seconds to prevent accidental presses, a dedicated button to start and stop your recording, a 3.5mm input in case you were to use a wired lav mic in the case you wanted to hide away the transmitter or even use an on-camera shotgun microphone. With this method, you can convert your shotgun mic from wired to wireless, and lastly, a dedicated button for ENC. Now, speaking of ENC, ENC is short for Environmental Noise Cancelling. The Lark Max transmitters implement the same technology most earphones or headphones use in cancelling out or suppressing all ambient background noise. In the case of the Lark Max, the transmitter will cut out all unwanted noise while only picking up the subject's voice. Let's see how this works. So yes, I did go out to do some tests, but I did encounter some errors. So I decided to try again indoors. I'll be doing the tests within my studio where I'll be playing some music from the computer which is just in front of me. And let's see how the ENC on the Lark Max does function. But one thing I noticed when recording outdoor in the park was that as I started walking further away from the receiver, with the ENC turned on, so when ENC is turned on, the blue light changes to green on the Lark Max. When the transmitter or the transmitter did go further away from the receiver and did disconnect, ENC did turn off. So that's another point. That's something I noticed, that if the transmitter disconnects from the receiver, ENC does also disconnect, does also turn off. I don't know if it's something Hollyland knows about. It's just something I noticed. And then when the transmitter comes back in connection with the receiver, you can then reactivate it. I don't know if it's just something that happened, but I noticed this while testing it outside. So we're gonna do the test now. I'll be switching. If you probably noticed, I've switched between the DJI, which is on my right, and the Lark Max, which is on my left. Currently, ENC is turned off. I'm gonna play some music. So now ENC is turned off and I have music playing in the studio on the computer just in front of me. I don't know how it sounds on the DJI, which is on my right, and how it sounds with the Lark Max, which is on my left. I'm now going to activate ENC, which is just with a press of a button. ENC is now turned on the Lark Max. There definitely will be no change with how the DJI sounds. But do you notice any change with how the Lark Max does sound? I don't know if the music in the background is also too loud. I can see on the receiver, there's a little icon that shows that ENC is turned on the transmitter. So what do you guys think? Any difference with ENC being turned on and it being off now? So ENC is off now. I can also control that on the receiver. ENC is on, ENC is off. What do you guys think? So this is an opportunity to talk about Hollyland's omnidirectional lavalier wired mics. Hollyland sent this, but they are currently on sale, so you can quickly grab one in link in the description below. The pack comes with 2 wired lavalier mic, and I'm currently testing it with the Rode wired lavalier mic. So I have the lavalier microphone from Hollyland and that from Rode. How do you think the sound? They're both connected to the 2 Hollyland transmitters. So what do you think? Is there any difference? Mic test 1, 2, 3. This is the one from Hollyland. Mic test 1, 2, 3. This is the one from Rode. What's the difference? And I currently have the ENC function turned on. I'm going to play some music. So there's music now playing in the studio. ENC is turned on both transmitters. I noticed that when I turn on the ENC, automatically both transmitters do come on. I wish there was a way of just turning one off and the other one left on. Maybe a firmware upgrade in the future can do this, but for now, once you activate the ENC function, that's the environmental control noise cancellation function, both transmitters go on or go off. So that's it. What do you think about the quality from the lavalier mics that Hollyland does sell, which is currently on sale? You can grab one. Another feature of the Lark Max kit is the internal recording. You can record high quality 24-bit 48 kHz wave files directly to each of the transmitters for up to 14 hours because they've each got 8 GB of internal storage. You can easily just pull out a transmitter, not even worry about the receiver or anything like that, and just hit the record button on the unit and then use that as its own, even as a little field recorder. Additionally, you can then add the second mic onto the hot shoe of your camera if you wanted to, and then sync the audio in post afterwards. You can also set up the transmitters to automatically start recording when you pull them out of the case. And since you've got 7.5 hours of battery life, you can just leave it running all the time and never miss anything. If you want, you can take out the receiver occasionally to check and adjust the settings. Another nice thing that you can do if you choose to record through the receiver into something like a camera is choosing how you're recording. You can record audio using the Lark Max in 3 different modes. These are the stereo, mono, and safety track modes. In stereo mode, each of the transmitters is going to be recorded on a single separate track. This is either the left or right channel. And then in post-production, you can then pull these different recordings apart and then mix them. In mono mode, it uses both transmitters. It mixes the signals together and puts them on both the left and right channels. And if you're not planning on going through the stress of separating the audio and mixing it properly, then this is the way to go. Finally, the safety track. This works as the mono mode. What it does is that it sums out all the audio signals together, but on the left track where you get the regular volume, on the right track you get a -6 decibel quieter signal. So if something loud happens in your recording that might distort the regular channel, then you have the quieter channel as a backup so you can use that for your audio. And now in terms of connectivity, the Lark Max has a range of 250 meters or 820 feet. And one fantastic function it does is automatic frequency hopping. In case you're wondering what frequency hopping means, it is a method of transmitting radio signals more securely by repeatedly and rapidly changing the transmitter frequency used to counter interference, monitoring, and much more. And just to add, our mobile phones use a function to stay safe from commercial scanners. So it's safe to say that with the Lark Max, your signals are safe. But I'd like to point out that to make it more safe, enable the onboard recording just in case. Getting your files off the transmitters is easy. Just plug in your USB-C cable and it automatically pops up as a drive. There's no need for any software. Simple. I also found out that when downloading or pulling out files from your transmitters, the Lark Max does some things that DJI doesn't. It groups your files into folders by date. So this means that if you have multiple recordings over several days, they'll be automatically grouped into folders based on their date and in the order that they were recorded. In summary, I'd rather go for the Lark Max over the DJI as it offers more than the DJI does offer for the same price point, especially with the ENC, auto frequency hopping, better sound quality, a bag that carries everything along, and there's no fear of something breaking. If you have any questions about the system or its features, do leave a comment down below. If you're looking to buy one, support the channel by clicking the link in the description below. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. I want to say a huge shout out to Hollyland for sponsoring this video and supporting this channel. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.